thank you. Thank you all for coming. This is a great turnout, and it's, I have to face you. This is awful. That's better. It's wonderful living in a community where so many people show up to learn about the issues and learn about who's running for office. It just, it's really gratifying to know that this is such a group of people that want to be informed before they make their decisions. And we have a lot to cover tonight, but first off, we have a lot of thank yous because AAUW, Morgan Hill Times, and the Morgan Hill Life are co-sponsoring this, but it took a lot of people to put it together. The City of Morgan Hill opened up the council chambers. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Morgan Hill Times and Morgan Hill Life did lots of publicity for us, in addition to providing me with 2 bodies to be panelists. Christy Davids and Jim Carrillo from Toastmasters are here to keep us on time, and that's critical because we have a really big lineup. So they're going to be putting up their cards and telling you exactly when you need to stop talking. Elizabeth Mandel made the programs, and Booksmart printed them for us in their brand new store. If you haven't been by there, please do. It's gorgeous. Howard Barnes from Sobrato got us a ton of questions. He worked with Central and Sobrato students and brought in lots of really very insightful questions. It's great to see reaching out to the young people and seeing what they're thinking. Lots of other questions came in too from the community, so we really appreciate that. And thank you to the candidates. Could all the candidates stand up, please? Have all the candidates stand up. You know, give them a big hand. Thank you. Yeah. It takes a lot of guts to run for office. You know you're going to get in a situation where the odds are pretty good that everyone is not going to like what you do. You're going to make enemies. And although the pay is pretty substantial, like and you get your name in the paper a lot, sometimes when you don't want to, but it does take a lot of guts, and I think we cannot run a democracy without people like you standing up and speaking up for what you believe in. So thank you again. Appreciate it. Another person I want to thank and introduce is Irma Torres. Irma, you here? Irma is running for city clerk. She has been city clerk. We'll tell him, Irma. Go ahead and tell him.
City clerk. We're going to serve one more 4-year term.
Thank you, Irma. Now I'm going to introduce our panelists, Michael Moore and Robert Aildy from the Times and the And I'm going to, how we're going to do this is we're going to have our mayor candidates up first, then we're going to have our city council, then we'll take a break and do our school board. Timing, as I said earlier, is really critical. We have lots of great questions and we want everyone to have a chance to answer them thoroughly. However, we don't have that much time. So we are doing 1 minute for an opening statement. And what will happen is when you're getting close to your minute, somebody's going to hold up the yellow card. When you hit a minute, we'll put up the red card. I will, of course, allow you to finish your statement. And then after a very few seconds, I'll probably say thank you very much. Because we want people to be able to move along and get to say what they need to say without going on and on. Questions are 1.5 minutes. So we will hold up the green at 1 minute, the yellow at 1 minute and 15 seconds, and the red at 1.5 minutes. And again, please try and be very concise when you're giving your answers so that you can get everything you need to the audience in that amount of time. If for some reason our panelists think that they need a little more explanation on your answer, they will ask you for more, and we will then factor that in. First thing we're going to ask is introduce our candidates for mayor: Steve Tate, Kirk Bertolet, and Joseph Carrillo. If you could all please come up to the podium, you're first on. I'm going to turn it over to the panelists now, and they are going to take it from here.
Thank you. This question is for all the candidates. We'll start with Kirk and move to the right. Who has contributed $500 or more to your campaign, and what organizations have introduced? Oh, we have to do the introductions. Yes.
Don't we get to introduce ourselves?
Thank you, Margaret.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. I told you should have taken this job right here. All right. So we're going to have 1 minute introductions. Kirk, would you go first, please?
I'm always first. I don't like the microphone. I like to be down here with my audience, with you people. Can you all hear me? My name is Kirk Bertolini. I am running for mayor of Morgan Hill. Who am I? That's the main question. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran. I've lived around the world and I've seen many communities, many different things. The Middle East, Europe, South America. I'm an electrician by trade, and I'm called a fixer. And you may ask, what do I fix? I fix anything that needs fixing. Now I'm running for mayor. I'm running against an awesome individual, Mr. Steve Tate. The good news is that man is running for his 6th term. The bad news is that he's running for his 6th term. So, I have a statement, a saying that I live by, and that is, there aren't any problems. There are only creative solutions waiting to be discovered. That's what I want to do. I need your help. I need your vote. My name is Kirk Bertolini, and I'm running for mayor of Morgan Hill.
Great. Thank you, Kirk. Joseph, would you like to give us your opening statement?
Hello, I am Joseph Carrillo. I am running for mayor because I believe the city could use improvements such as being more pedestrian friendly, bicycle friendly, also preserving agriculture, which Steve Tate's already trying to preserve Southeast Quadrant. I'm in favor of that too. I'm also in favor of the Measure S. But I love politics, so my goal is to get elected. So the main reason I'm running is to get elected. And I have ran for city council on the ballot a few times in a row. Of course, I have not got elected. But this election seems like there's more people voting, and I have a high chance of getting elected, which that's what I'm trying to do. So I never give up, and I keep trying to improve and increase my chance of getting elected. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Joseph. Mayor Tate.
Good news. I'm running for my 6th term. My name's Steve Tate. I have been the mayor for the past 10 years. I'm really in my 25th year of service to the city of Morgan Hill, 7 on the Planning Commission and 8 on the council. And running for 1 more term, calling it my last term. I will not run again after this, but we're in the middle of doing some things that I want to keep doing. I have a few themes to this election. I want to keep us safe and sound. Safety is #1 priority always. I want to keep us sound financially. And I have a big theme around managing growth. We're changing our growth control ordinance rather dramatically to a different approach where the city council is really going to have to manage the residential growth. We also want to see a lot of economic growth, more jobs in Morgan Hill, recreational growth, more recreation opportunities. We want to grow our medical services, have more of that, better transportation, grow our transportation alternatives, grow our tourism. So a lot of managed growth coming in, and a few other things I get to hope I can talk to later.
Thank you, Steve, and you will be able to. Now I will turn it over to our panelists.
Good evening, gentlemen. Now we will ask that question. Let's start with Kirk. Which organizations contributed $500 or more to your campaign, and which have endorsed you?
I don't have any endorsements, and I have self-funded my own campaign. I don't have any contributions. If anybody'd like to change that. I've just thrown my hat in. Like I said, I'm not the guy that's in the back just throwing out, problems and issues. I'm the guy that steps up and tries to make it happen. So I'm just said, what the heck? I'm going to play the hand I'm dealt. Like I said, I'm self-funded, and I'm just going to see where this goes. And I'm having the time of my life, and I'm meeting great people, and just having an absolutely fantastic time. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for this organization for putting this on. It's really great. Thank you for our MCs, and this is wonderful.
Mr. Carrillo.
I have not received any donations over that amount, and basically my election is self-funded. I handmade my own political signs, just got lettering and vinyl and put my own lettering on. I also, the yard signs that are chloroplast, I have lettering on those too. Basically the flyers I printed out myself, so I basically built a lot of my own advertising materials. Also, since there's no lobbyists or private interests, I think I'm the closest candidate to the public, and I enjoy making my own advertising and my own publicity. So I think I should have a good election. Since I did everything myself, it's probably the cheapest selection of all the candidates and possibly the most successful. I'm also the youngest candidate to run for mayor, I think. And if you have any questions about me, feel free to ask. My cell phone number is 1-408-881-3231 if you want to call me. So, okay then, any questions?
Mr. Tate, same question.
Yeah, what was the amount that you...
$500?
$500. I've had one contribution of $1,000 and I think two of $500. And what's the rest of the question?
Which organizations have endorsed you?
I'm endorsed by the South County Democratic Club and the Central Committee for the Democrats of Santa Clara County. They're the two organizations that have endorsed me. I'm endorsed by everybody from our state senator, Bill Monning, on down, Luis Alejo, Mike Wasserman at the county level. I haven't sought outside endorsements because they really don't represent our area, so I've confined it to that. I've got a whole list of my endorsements on my website, which is mayortate.org.
And it was which organizations have contributed, not how many. Can you name those organizations or people?
Yeah. Maybe not. I don't have it right in front of me. I'm pretty sure I have two 500 and 1,000. The 1,000 came from Dan McCraney.
Okay, thank you.
Next question is for Mayor Tate. Growth is a hot topic in Morgan Hill, and Measure S is on the ballot to slow or control growth, depending on who you ask. How does Measure S accomplish this, and do you support it?
I absolutely support it. I think it's absolutely essential that we pass it. It is a sea change. It is a dramatic change in how we're going to control growth because we're putting the city council in charge, advised by the planning commission. We're saying that you can allocate up to 215 units of residential growth a year, but that's a maximum. You can pull that down, and you may need to pull it down. We saw recently a building boom where it really needed to be pulled down over that time. We can now control that. We also see on the horizon build out, not enough land to totally have meaningful competitions for a whole bunch of units. So we might want to control the number of units so we still have a meaningful competition. So we're putting the city council in the driver's seat to actually be able to control the amount of allocations that go per year. And in keeping with my theme, there's a whole bunch of areas that I think we need to start managing better the growth of. The number of jobs here in Morgan Hill, how we do economic development. We've got a meaningful economic development staff now that can really do some things. Recreation, we've always had the objective of developing the ball fields. And we still have that as objectives, and we're looking for ways to get that accomplished with the land that we now have for it. Medical, tourism, other areas that we can grow as we go forth in time. But the main one is yes on Measure S.
This is a question for Kirk and Joseph. Kirk, you'll go first. Will you please explain your vision of Morgan Hill, particularly focusing on the developing housing markets and the impact that the residents of these new homes will make on our community? Resources such as fire, police, schools, traffic, noise, and job development.
So what we're talking about is our basic infrastructure. The current city, we've run off of developmental fees. Upwards of a quarter of the budget has been funded with developmental fees. And I want to wean Morgan Hill off of that. We have 40-some thousand people here. I don't see any of the issues being resolved by adding another house here. If we, housing, a house costs more in city services than they take in on taxes. I pay $5,000 a year on my taxes, and the city gets about $500. I've used paramedics and fire services at my house. One time ate that. Cost of trash and other things, of course, that's funded. But the cost of a house does not provide, or it costs more to run a house than we take in. So we need other sources of revenue. We're going to have to look at and get creative and find another way to do it. One way is to start bringing down more industry. We need to really focus on that. And if we need a tax, if we got to pay to play, then that may have to happen. But we need to honestly look at what's going to happen. I think it needs to be conveyed and communicated to the people, and the guarantees that it will be spent appropriately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Carrillo.
Yes, my vision of Morgan Hill is basically a sustainable, walkable, pedestrian-friendly, bike-friendly city and downtown. I believe downtown should have a lot of small businesses and entertainment to attract tourists. And they're developing a lot of residential, but I think the small business units need to be developed more because businesses create more sales tax than residential development. I mean, it's obvious because small businesses also create jobs within the city. They create a lot of good stuff. So small businesses are what the city and the downtown needs. Right now the downtown looks like a construction site, some parts of it. And I think instead of it being a construction site, it needs to be a thriving downtown with a bunch of small businesses. So maybe they developed too fast. I know a lot of businesses had to move out of downtown that were originally downtown, and that seems like it's more undeveloping than developing. Sustainable development should develop small business, bring more businesses instead of just developing residential. So, but I am in favor of Measure S, just like Steve Tate, because we need a growth control cap. And thank you. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor Tate, how do you propose to bring more homeownership opportunities to lower income people, senior citizens, and young families just starting out if we maintain the 70-30 single family to high density housing ratio as proposed in Measure S and the general plan?
I'm not sure that I understand the question. Am I in favor of doing that,
how do
or
you
what are we
propose-
doing to do it?
How do you propose bringing more homeownership opportunities to lower income people, senior citizens, and young families just starting out?
Well, we have a very good record of providing affordable housing here in Morgan Hill. We've done a lot of that through our residential development control system, and part of what we did with our residential development control system is up the percentage from 12% to 15% that we want embedded within future developments coming to town. We do have apartment units approved out on Condit Road, and another project being proposed on Butterfield that hasn't gotten any allocations yet. We hope that'll be a lot more affordable to the younger families, as you suggest. And we did lose our redevelopment agency, which provided the 20% set-aside funds for affordable housing. So we are, looking at other ways. I believe the entire council has endorsed Measure A on the ballot, which will be a county-wide $950 million allocation to affordable housing, and I think with our experience and our record of the past, we'll be in line to get quite a bit of that money if that passes by the county. Thank you.
Mr. Bertolini, define the pension problem as you see it in Morgan Hill, and how do you plan on addressing it?
The pension problem. The $30 million deficit that Morgan Hill is facing, it's called unfunded liability. It seems like every government agency dealing with pensions is doing this. I'm not sure what VTA is up to, but it's in excess of $100 million. Morgan Hill is at $30 million. That's the equivalent of you getting a credit card with a $100,000 limit, you maxing it out, and you pay the minimum every month. We need to pay it down. We need to find a way to deal with that. What happens is that CalPERS, who we fund our pensions through, what happens is they invest money, they handle the fund, and if they come short, they do a bad investment, the economy takes a dump, then they come asking for that money, and they want it, and we're liable for it. And so we need to pay that debt down, just like you manage your credit cards, manage everything else. That's a burden that will be here for now, for our kids. It's just something we need to resolve.
Thank you.
Mr. Carrillo, what are some of the steps that you might propose to further conserve water, and how will you make up the loss in revenue from lower water bills?
Well, I guess mainly review the maintenance statistics. Leaks, whenever there's leaks in pipes, they waste water. I think drip systems are good for irrigation, so maybe propose like rebates for drip systems for some way to encourage homeowners to install drip systems, because drip systems can be quite expensive to switch from sprinklers to drip systems. So also maybe drought-tolerant plants, which the city's already planning. But on the other hand, a lot of water issue is from the drought. So we could hope for rain, but that may not happen. I know as far as global warming is concerned, I think promoting more bike and pedestrian use, promoting more public transit, will reduce the amount of carbon monoxide and CO2 going to the atmosphere, so it'd be more likely to rain if there's less global warming. But I think as far as for irrigation, I think encouraging more drip systems, although I don't think that's the ultimate solution. I think most of the drought is just from lack of rain, which I guess but making sure there's no pollution in the storm drains, and making sure the creeks are healthy. I don't know what else besides that, if you have any more detailed questions about water conservation, but feel free to ask if you have any more questions.
Mr. Tate, how do you plan to create jobs that pay a living wage for Morgan Hill residents if we continue to cut back on zoning for industrial and commercial properties?
If we continue to cut back on,
The zoning for industrial and commercial properties, changing the zoning from,
we have changed the zoning along Butterfield for those apartments that I just mentioned that have not been approved yet, but that's the only one that we've cut back on. We still have many years' supply of industrial land available for development, and we have quite a few firms here in Morgan Hill that are looking to expand. It's kind of a glowing thing right now, so I'm not real sure what you're saying.
I think
I don't know of any other plans to convert any industrial land.
I think the question is trying to get at how do you plan to create jobs that pay a living wage? Period.
That's an area of focus. The city right now is developing an economic blueprint. We're going to be bringing that to you at the chamber and working with you to figure out exactly how it's going to be implemented, but it's going to be building around educational facilities and new kinds of opportunities to attract and also to welcome the expansions that are going on within the city that are quite widespread right now and quite encouraging to the future of more jobs available.
Thank you.
This question is for Mr. Bordelais. With or without Measure S, the city could run out of room for new homes within a decade. How do you propose weaning the city off funds received from developers that the city depends on for parks and infrastructure, maintenance, and improvements?
Well, the answer to not developing houses or growing with residential growth is to grow with industry. Industry pays a lot more in taxes than houses bring in. So cities like Stanton in Southern California went bankrupt because they were only a sleeper city with no industry. Once again, it costs more to run a house than it does to run an industry. And if you have industry, then there's things that we can reverse. If we got some of the big players that are building in Santa Clara, Sunnyvale, Mountain View, the things that I'm around every day, and get some of those players down here, down to Gilroy, people won't have to commute north. They can commute south. We got a whole half a freeway that's available every day that isn't being utilized. And we need to grow smarter. We need to get those industries down here. What I would do if I become mayor is develop an economic development team. They've already got a couple of people. We need people that are connected to the big players up in Silicon Valley and get those people down here and get that money down here. If we have to do tax incentives, do what we need to do, we need to get that. And it's going to take leadership that will be able to go and talk to those people and bring them down here.
Thank you.
Mr. Tate, the cities of Sunnyvale, Campbell, Mountain View, and several others in Silicon Valley all used to have a small town character similar to that of Morgan Hill. But we saw what happened to those communities. How do you propose Morgan Hill avoid that same fate?
Is this to me?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Good. We have values in this community. The recreation, everybody in Morgan Hill recreates and the healthy lifestyle. We value our youth. We value our seniors. We value each other. When some kind of crisis like this fire comes up, everybody's willing to pitch in and do things. That characterizes that small town, that neighborly feeling that we have. That's what the people that live here bring to the community, and we can't lose that. We've got to keep that. We've got to recognize what our values are, embrace them, and celebrate them like we frequently do with the 4th of July, with the Taste of Morgan Hill. We just got to keep that feeling. We are going to continue to grow. We can't avoid continuing to grow. People have to live somewhere. So saying that if we keep growing, the small-town feel will go away, could become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I don't want to see that happen. So I want to be kind of the spokesperson out there saying, let's keep the character of Morgan Hill alive and embrace it.
Thank you.
This is for Mr. Carrillo, and I think this is the last question before closing statements. Mr. Carrillo, since the county's LAFCO Commission has denied the city's ability to develop the southeast quadrant, what are the best next steps for that area? And the second part of that question is, do you believe Morgan Hill needs more sports facilities? And if so, where would you propose to develop those in the city?
Yes, I do believe that the way we go with preserving agriculture, we have to find better ways to encourage preserving it. So, but I do think the city needs more sports facilities for that second question. Aquatic Center turned out really good, the one that Dennis Kennedy helped build. The Outdoor Sports Center turned out good, CRC, all of them, but Aquatic Center doesn't have a diving pool, like a high diving pool. That'd be a good addition to the city, would be adding a diving pool. But there's other, sports venues that could be added, but I think sports are a good thing, so the city could always use more sports facilities, and it's a public service, so I think it's a good thing for a city to have parks and sports facilities. Any more details about that question, or?
I think so.
Okay. Thank you. Now you have 1 minute for a closing statement. Let's start with Mayor Tate this time.
Okay. As I say, I have 25 years of service to the city of Morgan Hill. Want to do a couple of others. I think my experience and my connections within the region that we live in are very important to some of the objectives that I put forth for the next couple of years. I think experience counts from the standpoint of being able to get things done going forward. We've accomplished a lot of things in the past. I really appreciate AAUW having this forum, and I request your vote. I've got envelopes and postcards and everything outside if you'd like to get those. But I would really appreciate your vote for one more term. Thank you.
I'm Joseph Carrillo, and I am glad to be running for mayor. I hope that I get elected. I know, just like Steve Tate mentioned, experience. I have a lot of experience campaigning and trying to get elected, but I have no experience in office, and I think that's why I need to get elected, so I can have experience serving as mayor. And I'm glad that Steve Tate's also from Measure S, so I guess I'm from Measure S too, so I'll second that, motion second. So I think, I hope I have a good chance to get enough votes, but I would want to preserve, the small town feel that we have. I know a lot of people downtown have seen overdevelopment, and we need to keep it the small town Morgan Hill that it is, and preserve agriculture and bring more small businesses, entertainment venues, tourist traps, tourist attractions, and all the good stuff to downtown Morgan Hill to make it a sustainable city with small business, recreation, and entertainment. And also, small businesses provide jobs for people that live here. Thank you. Any more questions, feel free to ask, but that's my closing statement.
Thank you. Once again, I'm going to come down there, but I'm going to indulge myself. Selfie? Who are my veterans? Who are my fellow veterans? Anybody? Thank you for your service. I really appreciate that. Nice sacrifice for the community. I come from a small town in Southern California, called Costa Mesa, California.
Kirk, I think you need to be at the microphone so the TV can hear you.
Oh.
People on TV.
Oh.
We could use that.
Why
Oh,
the
I can come
microphone?
Testing 1, 2. Hey, all right. So I'm on TV, all right.
Yeah.
So I come from a small town, Costa Mesa, California. It's just like Morgan Hill. It was a small town surrounded by farm fields. Everything that we have, it had, and it's gone. And my whole platform is I want to stop that. I want to just slow it down. I love what Morgan Hill is. It's a beautiful community, and I just want to preserve that. Once again, my name is Kirk Bertollet. Thank you for coming. I'm running for Mayor of Morgan Hill. Bye con Dios. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you all.
Are we excused?
You are now excused, yes.
6 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah. There you go. Very good.
Next, we're going to have city council candidates come up.
Thank you. Oh, man. Thanks.
Is Mike working up there?
I think so.
Testing.
Thank you. And we will start just like we did with the other group, or almost did, with 1 minute opening statements. Armando, would you like to go first?
Yes, thank you. So my name is Armando Benavides. I am an attorney. I've been practicing civil litigation for 22 years, including trial work. I've been living here in Morgan Hill for 16 years. I have 2 children. One attends Live Oak High School. I'm very excited to be here. My vision for Morgan Hill is to implement a sensible growth plan. My plan will give great weight to sustainability factors like our water and sewer capacity, the ability of our police to service an expanded area, the capacity of our roads to absorb additional traffic and congestion, and the availability of funds to maintain an expanded infrastructure. I will give much weight to those factors and to the will of large segments of the community that prefer reduced growth. I will collaborate with all stakeholders and listen and be available and open to my constituents to ensure that Morgan Hill continues to be one of the best cities in the county. Thank you, and I hope you vote for me.
Thank you. Mario?
First of all, I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank the Morgan Hill Times and the Morgan Hill Life. I especially want to thank AAUW for putting on this forum and for all your work in our community. All my daughters have benefited from your programs, and so have my sons. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in mathematics from San Jose State in 1988. My wife and I moved to Morgan Hill, and over the years, we've raised 4 wonderful children. I've been a community volunteer and served on various local nonprofits. In 2014, I retired from the city of San Jose after 23 years of public service, working with geospatial applications created to view and analyze map information. 3 years ago, I was appointed to the General Plan Advisory Committee, GPAC, for Morgan Hill 2035, and I participated in the initial working committee to update the Residential Development Control System, Measure S. That's in the November ballot. During this process, I've listened to residents, I've listened to stakeholders, and I'm ready to serve on the Morgan Hill City Council.
Thank you, Mario. Barry?
Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight to pay attention to us for a short amount of time. Thank you to the Morgan Hill Life and to Morgan Hill Times and to the AAUW for sponsoring this. And thank you to my colleagues up here with us tonight. Campaigns are spirited, exciting times, and I'm excited to be up here with these four individuals. My name is Larry Carr. I'm running for re-election to the City Council. I'm a lifelong resident of Morgan Hill. 1972, my parents bought property out on Oak Glen. My three brothers and I grew up going to Morgan Hill schools, from kindergarten at P.A. Walsh to graduating from Live Oak High School in 1987. I've been a coach, I've been a school board member, and I've been a city council member here in Morgan Hill. I love this community. This is the community where my family is growing up, where my kids are growing up. And I'm running for re-election with a positive plan for Morgan Hill about continuing our future plans, about continuing the great path that Morgan Hill is on, about continuing our sustainable budget strategy and keeping Morgan Hill safe while investing in our youth. I'm looking forward to answering your questions tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Larry. Marilyn?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Marilyn Liebers, and I am running for re-election. I have been on the City Council for 8 years now, so this will be my third term. I'm a 40-year resident of Morgan Hill, and I also raised my family here, and I even now have a little granddaughter who's going to the exact same elementary school my children went to, so I'm very proud of that. I have a vision for Morgan Hill that is in place somewhat in our city already, and I want to hold on to that vision. The small town feel is very important to me, but we need to grow in our economic base and industry. We need to bring jobs, and we need to bring bigger businesses to town. So that's my plan for the next 4 years, is to continue to work on those things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marilyn. Renee?
My name is Renee Spring, Renee spelled with one E at the end, for those of you who speak French like me. I'm a 12-and-a-half-year resident of Morgan Hill. As you can tell by my accent, I didn't grow up in the States. I moved from Switzerland in 1998 to the Bay Area and lived in South San Jose before we moved down here. I am married, have 3 wonderful stepchildren and 3 beautiful grandkids that make us very happy. I'm very involved in our community, have been for many years now. In my neighborhood, I was on the board of the Mirasol of Morgan Hill HOH until a month ago, and finally found someone who would take my seat. Was on the board, a class member with Marilyn of Leadership Morgan Hill 2012, and then on the board of Leadership and current president of the Morgan Hill Community Foundation. I stand for responsible growth. A year ago when I started my campaign, growth was not a big topic. We were talking about 2+% growing, and Southeast Quadrant project were still looming. Morgan Hill is losing its soul, and I think none of us moved down here for the urban experience, so let's keep it that way.
Great, thank you. Now I'm going to turn it over to our panelists who will ask each questions.
All right, thank you. First question is for all the candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Spring. What organizations or people have contributed $500 or more to your campaign, and what organizations have endorsed you?
Everything is public record, so bear with me if I forget something. I have a couple folks in the community, other than my other half and myself, who financed a lot of the campaign. Some names, $500 or more. My dentist, Senator Teresa Dental, gave $1,000. Individuals that I remember, Lisa Garibaldi, Kevin File, and there's probably one or two more, and I apologize, I do not remember names. Organizations that endorse me? It's a long list. I'm very proud of it. I'll start with Save Morgan Hill, only endorsement, the sole endorsement from Sierra Club, as well as the League of Conservation Voters, South Bay Labor Council, Equality California, Honor PAC, Victory Fund, DAME, Democracy for America, DAWN, as well as Democracy for America. And I probably forgot one or two, and a very impressive list. But most importantly, I have almost 150 people, local residents here who endorse me, almost 2,000 followers on our campaign Facebook site, so please continue joining this campaign. It's a movement.
Thank you. Ms. Liebers, and we'll just continue down the line to your right.
Thank you. I only have one person that has donated more than $500 to the best of my memory, and that was $1,000 donated by South Valley Internet, which I think you all know is garlic.com. And they happen to be personal friends of mine. I actually don't even have their service, so it was very nice of them. I'm very proud of my endorsements also. I have the POA, which is the Police Officers Association of Morgan Hill, and I also have CAL FIRE here, right here in Morgan Hill, which are two big ones. I'm very proud of that. Also, locally in government, I have Mike Wasserman, our county supervisor. I have Luis Lejejo, who is our assemblyman. Bill Monning, our state senator. Let's see down the list here. I have Kenton Chu, who's also a assemblyman. Evan Lowe, assemblyman. And let's see, who else do I have? Well, I have many vice mayors and council members from the Peninsula and Santa Clara County, as I am very involved regionally. I have traveled to China with many of these people and have all of their endorsements, so the list is quite long. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm quite proud of the as far as organizations go, I've been supported by the South County Democratic Club, the Santa Clara County Association of Realtors, a grassroots organization here in town called Save Morgan Hill, Democratic Activists for Women Now, an organization that promotes girls and women in our community, the South Bay Labor Council and Building Trades Council and their organizations within Morgan Hill. None of those organizations have contributed to my campaign. I have received over $500 in contributions from 3 individuals, Rich and Rosie Bergen, Jennifer and James Canine, and Dustin Bogue. And I've received well over 30 individual contributions, averaging out to just a little over $100 per contribution in my campaign. The vast majority of it coming from within Morgan Hill. Thank you.
Yes, the only contribution over 500 is for myself, for my ballot statement. In terms of endorsements, I've been endorsed by community leaders and individuals, and from no organization so far. And I'd like to think it's because my special interests are the residents of Morgan Hill.
So I am self-funded, and I have been endorsed by the Community Advocacy Coalition that has a branch here and another branch in Los Baños. It's the Community Advocacy Coalition.
Thank you.
All right, this next question is for Mr. Spring and Mr. Benavides. We'll start with Mr. Spring. Which of the 4 alternative options for the high-speed rail project do you support?
Which one?
Which one?
Leslie Miles did a nice summary the other day. I don't know if some of you saw it. I posted it on our Facebook page as well as other Facebook page. It's what I call option number 4 along the west side of 101. I'm not crazy about any of those options. I think it will have a huge impact on our region or area, especially here in Morgan Hill as well as San Martin. Benefits for Morgan Hill probably at the very beginning would be fairly low. We have no station, so those of us commuting north, we still will commute north because by the time we get to Deary Dawn, we're already at work anyways. Same if we go to Gilroy. I'm worried about what's happening. I think we really need to continue speaking up. This room was full on Tuesday night. Please do come and speak up and share your thoughts with the authorities in charge of it. But I assume it's coming, and I hope I hope it will not be a train to nowhere, but then it would be along 101 west side of 101.
Thank you. Mr. Benavides, same question.
Well, it's been in the planning for a while, so I like the highway where it follows the 101. It is not going to stop here in Morgan Hill, so it's just going to basically pass, and I believe that it'll probably be elevated, so that's going to kind of add some change to our the environment, the way it looks. But I think that to keep it along the highway elevated will probably be the less impact that it may have on Morgan Hill. There's no doubt about it that it is going to have an impact. So trying to minimize it. It's going to go very, very fast, and so it'll probably be applying the brakes to get to Gilroy. So it's not where we're going to be able to get people to see very much of Morgan Hill as it zooms down. It's traveling at 220 miles per hour, And so I imagine there'll probably be a plan to break somewhere down there, but after Morgan Hill or maybe a little before Morgan Hill. I like the highway overpass. Let's just keep it up and hope that it brings some good economic benefits to us over here.
Thank you.
This question is for Ms. Liebers and Mr. Carr. The economy has been booming for the last 4 years. That being said, why is the city short of funds that are needed to fix our roads? And do you have any plans to find revenue for the city's needs other than raising taxes? And there's a potential follow-up to that question.
Am I first?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. Yes, you are correct in what you said, that we are falling behind in our funds for infrastructure. However, I'm hopeful that Measure B, which is a county initiative, will pass, okay, a proposition, and that will bring funds to Morgan Hill to complete our, what we call this Hale extension that'll run on the west side of Morgan Hill, which will divert some of the traffic from the downtown area and some that's already on Butterfield. Funds are coming to complete that. Plus, we have over $800,000 if that proposition passes to help with our infrastructure. How we got into this mess? It's been long coming, and we need a plan, a solid plan to attack this. We have to go over every line item in the budget. We have to apply for every grant there is, and I can assure you, I will work hard to make this a priority in my reelection to find a solution to both our traffic and the infrastructure that needs repair.
Thank you. No follow-up, Mr. Carr?
Thank you. We fund road maintenance in California, not just in Morgan Hill, in California, in one main way, and that's through gas taxes. Now, I drive a hybrid, so I'm contributing to the problem. I don't buy as much gas as when I drove a big gas guzzler. Morgan Hill has faced that problem. We receive less and less every year in gas tax revenue. And those monies, then we receive less and less to fix our streets and roads. We used to be able to supplement that with redevelopment funds. The state took redevelopment dollars away from us, so we no longer have that anymore. So now we're trying to figure out how do we supplement that need for gas tax revenue to fix our roads and streets. We're putting $1 million this year in from general fund monies and $1 million next year of general fund monies towards that. And those are monies because of our sustainable budget strategy. We were able to save those kinds of dollars in our budget this year in order to apply those in next year's budget towards that. As Ms. Lieber said, Measure B on your November ballots will provide $800,000 a year towards road and street maintenance in Morgan Hill. That doesn't do it all, but we could possibly take a look at that money and say, could we bond against that money and get maybe $20 million up front to fix all of our streets and roads at once so that maintenance costs are less year over year and the $800,000 we receive from that sales tax could go towards paying off those bonds. Those are some of the creative solutions that I'm asking our staff to look into.
Thank you. And the follow-up is just to clarify, you support Measure B?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This question is for Ms. Liebers and Mr. Spring. The cities of Sunnyvale, Campbell, Mountain View, and others in Silicon Valley have all used to have that small town character similar to that Morgan Hill has now. But we saw what happened to those communities. How do you propose Morgan Hill avoid that same fate? And we'll start with Mr. Spring.
Well, it is part of my platform, right, that I want to preserve the small town feeling of this town. We all moved down here from San Jose because we don't want to live in San Jose. We want to keep it rural and small. We have to slow down growth. Last year, Morgan Hill was the fastest growing city in Santa Clara County and the 7th fastest growing city, over 30,000 residents in the whole state of California, according to the Department of Finance in California. That's just way too fast, way too much. Our infrastructure is crumbling. We can't keep up. That is a problem that we need to solve. I have proposed that instead of focusing on residential building. I don't want us to sprawl outside the city limits. I want us to grow within the city limits. But I want us to focus more on bringing well-paying jobs to Morgan Hill, as others also have mentioned it earlier. Companies, especially tech companies, and I work for a tech company, they bring in the money, and I could play door opener. I have a huge network up in the Silicon Valley to those companies. But last of all, we just need to be engaged in this community as I am and many of you are. This is what makes this community a wonderful community, and we need to keep that alive. But we have to slow down growth, and we have to stop sprawling outside of our city limits so that we keep it beautiful as it is.
Thank you. Ms. Liebers?
I'm also for very slow, controlled growth, but I'm actually going to take a little bit of a different take on that question. Last year, I was asked to be a keynote speaker in Chengdu, China, on Silicon Valley. I was the only American there. I represented the United States. And when I started to write a 15-minute speech on Silicon Valley, I haven't done that much research since I was in college, let me tell you. But what I learned, Palo Alto, Menlo Park, Campbell, all these cities, they land grabbed back in the 50s and 60s, and they grew and grew and grew with no growth control at all. They are now impacted. They do not want new businesses. They don't want new residents. They can only go up. That is the only way they can do it. They can build 6-story, 7-story buildings. So my goal is obviously to keep Morgan Hill in this very friendly hometown feel. And the way we're going to do it is enticing industry to come to Morgan Hill. We have the largest industrial park in regards to acreage than any in Silicon Valley. So we need to expand on that knowledge and promote it worldwide and throughout the Silicon Valley, that we have room. You don't have to tear down a building to move your company to Morgan Hill. You can move right in, make tenant improvements, and we're welcoming. We like to say in the city of Morgan Hill, we're open for business, and we really are. So that's how we're going to keep our small town.
Thank you.
This question is for Mr. Carr. It's a two-part question. Since LAFCO has denied the city's ability to develop the southeast quadrant, what are the best next steps for that area? And do you believe Morgan Hill needs more sports facilities? And if so, where would you propose to develop those in our city?
Great question. Let me take the second part first. Yes. Every day we see kids playing on overcrowded fields. We see kids waiting their turn at the outdoor sports complex. We see kids looking for a basketball hoop that isn't halfway hanging down or at least has half of a net on it. If we could provide more facilities for our kids, then those kids would be far better off. Our schools would be far better off. Our community would be far better off. Yes, I'd like to provide more recreation activities for our kids. We have a great outdoor sports complex. We have a great aquatic park today. What we're lacking is the diamond sports, baseball, softball. We need to, and we have a plan to develop a baseball, softball park in Morgan Hill. The problem is you need acreage. And we don't have the acreage within our city limits today to do a facility like that. In order to do that, you'd have to take something out of either open space today or out of industrial and commercial space. We've all talked about not wanting to touch our industrial space because that's about our tax base. So we need to look at other places. The suitable place that I voted for is at the corner of Tennant and 101. It is in the county, it is in the southeast quadrant, and would make a great place for a baseball park. You talked about the southeast quadrant, and I'm going to run out of time before I get to address your second question. But the southeast quadrant, our plans were denied by LAFCO. So we're a part of a county coalition that the county and the Open Space Authority are leading to put together some thoughts about agricultural preservation and open space preservation. We've been urging them to get started. They haven't gotten started on that plan. We joined at the table with them more than a year ago. We'd like them to get going so that we can preserve more agricultural space here in South County. And that's where the planning stages are right now with the county and the Open Space Authority. Thank you.
This next question is for Ms. Liebers. Some people believe the city has not done enough for pedestrian safety in downtown from Main to Dunn Avenue. Would you support the installation of warning lights and lighted crossing paths to improve safety? If not, do you have any other ideas to address this concern?
Well, of course I support safety, let me tell you that. We need to slow traffic down in downtown, and the speed bump has helped some. Do I support the flashing lights? I have to tell you, as a council, we have investigated all sorts of solutions for this. The restaurants, the majority of the restaurants do not want the above-ground flashing lights. They think it takes away from the ambiance of dining in the evening. So we are looking now into solar lights that are embedded into the sidewalks. So you push a button and they flash, and so you can see them. You know, so we definitely need to improve that. And I think once we have the Hale extension, the one I talked about earlier on the west side, that's going to alleviate some of the traffic. I know when I drive through downtown, I drive really slow, and probably people behind me are going crazy. But it's important that we set the example. Every one of you in the audience, drive slow when you're downtown. The orange flags have helped, and when I see somebody using one, which not everybody does, I always give them a thumbs up and good job, and I've used it myself, so I think we need to continue to promote that. I've actually put it on my website. Don't be intimidated, use the orange flag, you know, be safe downtown. So I think as a council, we're looking at that, and at the corner of 4th, where our new garage is, we do have a signal light planned. It'll be in the spring. So we're taking this very seriously.
Thank you.
This question is for Mr. Benuelos and Mr. Benavides. What are some of the steps you might propose to further conserve water, and how will you make up for the loss in revenue from lower water bills? And we'll start with Mr. Benuelos.
Well, for you know, right off the bat, I mean, Morgan Hill led the county in water conservation, which I think is amazing. One way we could do it is using technology and our permit system as well. I mean, we could recapture gray water and reusable water. We could do dual plumbing in new development, so you know you could wash your clothes and then also water your landscape as well. I know there's some work to do something like that with technology in terms of recycling water on site and on homes. Conservation, I think, is our best bet moving forward. The urban, I guess the city just went with an urban water plan, and we met the 2020 by 2020 goals of conserving 20% of our water. So moving forward, I think that's going to be the goal. Conserving and also using technology and permits for new development to actually conserve water, landscaping as well. So.
And how do you offset the loss of revenue?
Good question. I mean, we would have to find other sources of revenue. So.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Benavides?
Well, we just had a water rate increase. I think it was 300% rate increase, so I think that's going to kind of cover any sort of loss of water usage, and that was really the purpose for that, was to account for that. And so I think that in terms of funding, if I looked at the latest financial projections outwards, and I think that it looks like that's going to, the water finances are solid right now. I would suggest rebates for people to buy low-flow toilets. I would also information campaign to the community how important it is to conserve our water. We have limited sources of water. I would also water shrubbery that doesn't use a lot of water. That kind of situation. And of course, the last thing would be looking at our development, because we are adding 250 houses up until 2018, 2019. So we're going to have this tremendous growth that's going to continue onward. So looking at our houses, making sure that we do require the landscape that is for new housing, that it is low water, low volume. And of course, the irrigation system is low water too. So that's what I would focus on.
Thank you.
This next question is for Mr. Banuelos. With or without Measure S, the city could run out of room for new homes in about a decade. How do you propose weaning the city off funds received from developers that the city depends on for parks and infrastructure maintenance and improvements?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, during the general plan update process, the GPAC, we went through a little exercise. It was called the Lego exercise, and one of the goals is that we want to maintain our neighborhood character, and that usually relates to the 70-30 split. The identity of our neighborhoods is really the single-family home, and that's what residents really want to maintain. Well, when we went through this little Lego exercise, what we quickly learned is that we ran out of space. So if we don't build out wisely, we have to build up, and that goes contrary to what residents want as well. But an interesting thing that happened is, as we started moving away from our irregular boundaries, we started connecting our neighborhoods. And as one resident said, our sidewalks to nowhere. And all of a sudden you started seeing that, we could maximize the delivery of our infrastructure by connecting not only our sidewalks, but our infrastructure and improving the efficiency of our public services as well. So I think that's the goal in the long term for our residential development.
Thank you.
Next question is for Mr. Benavides, Mr. Carr, and Mr. Banuelos. How do you propose to bring more home ownership opportunities to lower income people, senior citizens, and young families just starting out in Morgan Hill? And we'll start with Mr. Benavides.
That is the major problem in our city. House prices are rocketing. We have, for example, our teachers at the Morgan Hill Unified School District, entry level is $50,000. They can't even afford to buy a house. So that is a major problem. We have a lot of service jobs that are only paying $15 an hour, $20 an hour. So we are going to have a major problem here in terms of housing. There's always going to be pressure to make houses available, but as the pressure builds up, the house prices go up too, so it creates problems. I would like to see more of a partnership between private-public partnership, so that we are able to get partners to come in and get maybe bonds, and that we could low-interest bonds. We help the private ownership bonds to get those bonds at low interest rates, investment opportunities for people who maybe are interested in participating in getting a whole bunch of money together to build those bonds. So I think that's probably more that I would be interested in, the private-public partnership. We do have some development funds that go to build low-income to mid-level housing to make it available. But I think that what happens is that many times when we have those incentives, they do drive up house prices, and so we have some problems with that. So I would look more for private-public enterprises to get that part a little bit better for housing.
Thank you. Mr. Carr?
Yeah, affordable housing has been something I've worked on my whole career. Excuse me, it's a very important issue for our community. I think about my kids. They're in public high school here in Morgan Hill, and will they one day be able to live in Morgan Hill should they choose to? When we had a redevelopment agency, we used to be very active in building affordable housing, and I can tell you that our record of affordable housing is something that we should all be proud of in Morgan Hill. 1 out of every 10 units in Morgan Hill is an affordable house in Morgan Hill and has a covenant on it in order to keep it affordable in Morgan Hill, and that's something that other communities cannot say. So it's something we should be very proud of. Our residential development control system and Measure S on your ballots in November will actually continue that record of affordable housing in Morgan Hill. What we do is we ask builders that want to come into Morgan Hill and build homes in Morgan Hill that they need to contribute back to our community by building a certain share of them as affordable homes. for different income brackets. Then we take those affordable homes and we put them in what's called a below market rate housing program, where we target teachers and police officers and people who work and serve our community and try to get them into those homes, get them qualified for loans and get them to buy those homes. They're not given to them, they're not rental units, they buy and they own those homes just like you and I buy and own our homes. So it's a very good system that we need to keep in place. We also have been very aggressive in using other funds and creating a housing fund where we can work with nonprofit developers to build even lower income and extremely low income rental units in Morgan Hill for service employees that need them as well. Thank you.
Mr. Benuelos?
No, I agree. I think, Morgan Hill should be proud of its robust affordable housing program, like Larry said. I mean, 1 out of every 10 new homes is below market rate. I would continue that. I mean, when you have a growth control ordinance like, Measure S or the current one that we have, you create a supply and demand, and it becomes difficult for people to come here and afford to live here. So I really support a wide range of different housing types for seniors, for low-income families. Like the mayor said earlier, we have sites that are actually, low-income apartments, and those are already in the works. I agree, partnership with nonprofits, with the state, with the county in terms of finding resources to be able to allow people to live where they work. So I totally support it. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is our final question before closing statements. It goes to Mr. Spring. Growth is a hot topic in Morgan Hill, and Measure S is on the ballot to slow growth. Do you support Measure S? If so, why? And if you do not support Measure S and you want to slow growth further, how would you accomplish that?
Yeah, I knew that question would be coming. I'm also a planning commissioner here in town, but I am going to respond as a resident and candidate. I was on the fence for a long time. The measure got murky, the way it was worked out, and the water got muddied. It is flawed. I came to the conclusion that it's too flawed, it raises too many questions, and I will vote no, thinking it will buy us time that we actually can improve the measure within the next year with the right members on the city council. In February, I proposed a 1% growth, residential growth, and on an annual basis. The city council didn't want to pursue that further, saying, well, the impact would be way too much on our city, and the impact fees not coming in, so on. And then at the very last meeting in July, all of a sudden, they came up with almost the same solution that I had proposed months ago, and all of a sudden now it's doable. I think that needs to be explained to our citizen. We're talking about the measure that will be in place for the next 20 years. If in doubt, I say no. But if you think Measure S gives you all the answers you're looking for and you feel confident, by all means say yes. We need a new growth RDCS measure by the time Measure C runs out in 2020, but we still have time to do it right, and that's why we'll say no to Measure S.
Thank you.
Great. So now you're going to have 1 minute for your ending statement. We'll start with you, Mr. Spring. We'll walk around.
Okay, well, as you can see, I like to bring in a caller to the city council. As planning commissioner, I sit here many hours, a couple times per month. I have been campaigning for almost a year, getting great support from the community. They look at my platform, what I stand for. Most other candidates by now have adopted our platform that we put out last fall, and so it tells me I'm on the right track. I'm a fresh face, I'm not a politician, I'm just an engaged resident, community member like many of you, but I like to look at things sometimes with a different perspective as we do it in the corporate world. I work for a tech company, I deal with the commute and commute hours every day. I'm one of you. I care about our city, I love our city, as some of you might know me as the owner of It's Ours, Our Morgan Hill, 20,000 followers by the way, proud of that. Go to my website, springforcouncil.org. You can read the platform. There's many issues we haven't been able to talk about. Take one of those cards home. They're out there. Most importantly, go and vote. If you don't vote for me, vote anyhow. But if you do vote or don't know who to vote for, at least for one of the two names, put my name in for city council. council, and I would like your vote, and I appreciate that. I will work hard. I work hard for this city, and I will work hard for you. I care for you, and I will listen to you.
Great, thank you.
Well, again, I'll say thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sitting through all this. It's been my pleasure to have a chance to get to know you and you to get to know me. A couple things I haven't had a chance to mention. I am a retired Mount Madonna YMCA employee. I was the first employee they hired in 1988, so I opened that branch. I'm also very involved in the League of California Cities. I hold executive board positions. So not only do I have a network locally within the city, within Silicon Valley, within the state, and all of that experience is very important. So I bring to the table experience you can trust, okay, and count on, leadership you can trust and count on. But most importantly, I listen, I'm approachable, and when I talk to somebody on any matter, no matter what it is, I will take action. And for those of you that know me, know that this is a true statement. I care about the citizens. If elected, I always remember I work for you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for coming out tonight and spending a little bit of time with us. My name is Larry Carr. I've been your council member for many years. Throughout my years serving the residents of Morgan Hill, I've gotten to know many of you, and I've gotten to know many other residents of Morgan Hill. This is a great town. It's my hometown. It's where I grew up. I love Morgan Hill. Don't let anyone ever tell you that Morgan Hill is a bad place or heading down or not on the right path. Morgan Hill is in a great place and moving forward. But we're not without our challenges. Our challenges are serious and require serious leadership and serious experience to get through them. I offer that experience and that leadership. You know, at the end of the day, I cast votes, and you and I may not always agree on the outcome of those votes. But I hope you and I will always agree on one thing, that I do my homework, that I listen and I'm accessible, that I listen to both sides of every issue, and that when I cast my vote, I keep Morgan Hill's interest at mind and the best interest of Morgan Hill at heart, the way that we all should. I hope that those are the traits that you look for in a city council member, and I hope I can count on your support. Thanks again for being out here tonight.
Yes, thank you for coming out tonight. As a member of the General Plan Advisory Committee, I resided over many meetings and public workshops over a 3-year period discussing the challenges we face as a city. When it comes to growth and its impact on our resources, there are no simple solutions. However, I am confident that we are up to the challenge. Throughout the whole process, we were always mindful of the need of not only providing housing, but to preserve agriculture, open space, parks, and the need to bring small and mid-sized businesses so residents could live where they work. 29 years ago, when I moved to Morgan Hill, a fellow co-worker of mine told me, Morgan Hill is a great place to raise a family. 4 children later, I absolutely agree. It's a great place to live. I want our next generation to say the exact same thing, and that is why I'm running for City Council. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for coming out here and spending these minutes with us. Obviously, we don't have enough time to share our policies, all our thoughts, but there are a lot of articles in the on the Morgan Hill Times and Morgan Hill Life regarding each of the candidates and their positions. We do have a wonderful city. I remember when I came here 16 years ago, it was a lot smaller. Now it's grown tremendously. My concern, of course, is the infrastructure. We are $20 million in debt that has been ignored because the development has really enlarged our infrastructure, and we don't have enough money to cover it. And that's going to be the major challenge. How do we come up with the funds to pay the infrastructure? How do we balance the development needs of our community and the funding that comes with that versus the stresses in our infrastructure? Our roads are in disrepair. We do need to fix that. Those are new challenges. I think we need new leaderships. They've had 8 years, 12 years, and I think and our infrastructure really has been growing. The problem with our infrastructure has been growing over many, many years. It's not like it just suddenly rolls up. It's the fast-paced development that has not kept up with that. So we need new leadership that will come in and basically tie our development, our housing development, with the sustainability of our infrastructure. And I think that we cannot continue. We need to look at our water. How much water do we have? Oh, my time's up. And so sustainability to me is going to be very important. And I hope that you would consider how important those are going to be new challenges for us. And we need new leadership. And I'm ready to step up. And I hope that you would consider me and vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to take about a 7-minute break and come back at 25 after 8. And we're actually 5 minutes ahead of schedule. Please give these guys a great big, these people, ladies and hands. Thank you. Okay, good. All our candidates are ready.
Admin regs and the responsibilities and all that? Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, I want to welcome our school board candidates up. Our timers are sitting right here. They will be timing. We're going to open with an opening statement. You have 1 minute to do that. And we'll start with Ms. Patterson. And we'll just go this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Mary Patterson, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for having us tonight, and I want to thank my esteemed colleagues. I'm a resident of San Jose, and I live in the Morgan Hill Unified School District, and I've lived there for 16 years, and I have 2 children who attend the public schools in the Morgan Hill Unified School District, which I'm proud to say. I've spent many years volunteering and working at Los Paseos Elementary, at Jackson Academy, now at Martin Murphy Middle School, and also Sobrato High School now, all of which are really great schools, and I'm really glad to have my kids there, and they're thriving, and I see a lot of that, so that's really good. I have a long background in children's health and well-being, and I've spent most of my career working on behalf of kids in juvenile justice, foster care, education, and health. And that's where my passion lies. That's what I've spent most of my life paying attention to and working toward, and I hope to do that on the Morgan Hill Unified School Board. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here today. My name is Angelica Diaz, and I'm running for Area 5. I'm a parent of 2 children. I'm a lifelong resident of Morgan Hill, and I'm a product of the Morgan Hill School District. I have a sister who's currently enrolled in Britton Middle School. I value education. It provides the essential building blocks to succeed in life. I want to see our district succeed, and I want to see all of our students succeed. I want to ensure that every child has the opportunity to reach high education attainment. My focus areas are student achievement, parent engagement, and high quality education. I believe I have the experiences and skills that well qualify me for this role. I am a director for a nonprofit organization. I'm a board trustee member to the Learning and Loving Education Center, and I'm a graduate of Leadership Morgan Hill. I also have experience as a health educator, teaching elementary and students and their parents in school settings. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Albert Beltran Jr., and I'm running for Trustee Area 6. I live in Los Paseos neighborhood with my wife, a public school teacher, and our 2 children, and I have a family full of Live Oak graduates dating back to the 1960s. My master's degree is in education policy, and as a compliance and finance auditor of a school district, I understand the ins and outs of how to maximize resources at the classroom level and know the questions to ask to hold the district accountable on an ongoing basis. I served as a board member of Habitat for Humanity. I served as chair of the County Committee on School District Organization. But more importantly, I have classroom experience as a substitute and as a student teacher. And I'm honored to have the support of my family and friends. And I would be honored to have your support as well and your vote. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rick Badillo. I'm running for re-election for Trustee Area 6. I bring a unique perspective to the board as the only parent on the board. I've served our country, our community, and our school district for the past 28 years. And as the only board member with children in our district, I want to focus on student achievement, teacher salary, and class size reduction. I believe that with a solid educational foundation for children, we can grow children to be world changers. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Tom Arnett, and I am the recently elected trustee for Area 5 as of the June election we had just earlier this year. I want to start off by saying thank you to all of you for being here and for making Morgan Hill what it is. I grew up here, graduated from Live Oak, and then went away to school, started my career, traveled across the country doing work in education, and came back here and persuaded my wife that this is the community where we wanted to raise our kids. So why am I running for the school board? It's because I'm passionate about education. It started when I was at Live Oak, and as a student, studied under some great teachers that really ignited a passion for learning, and a passion for learning on how to learn and understand how people learn. Later on, when I started my career, I was a middle school math teacher in Kansas City. Went on to get an MBA at Carnegie Mellon University, and now I work at a national research institute where I travel across the country talking with educators and policymakers and studying innovative school programs. And I'm wanting to bring education that personalizes to students' needs to our district.
Great, thank you very much. Before we go on, this is new where we have different regions, and I just like some people in our audience may not be clear on those regions. And so, Mr. Badillo, you're running for Area 6, and
Correct.
Mr. Beltran also 6?
6, correct.
6, and okay, Mary Patterson also 6, and Angelica, you and Mr. Arnett are running for 5. Okay. If you need to look, you can go to the Morgan Hill School District, look at the map, see what district you are in if you are not sure. It's laid out there and it's pretty clear, but right now, so we actually have 2 people up, or we have 2 districts that are being represented right now that people are running for, and I think that's important you understand that. Thanks. Now I'm going to turn it over to our panelists.
Thank you. Good evening. And if you've been in at the forum and you've heard the previous candidates, you know what this next question is going to be. Which organizations contributed $500 or more to your campaign, and which organizations have endorsed you? And let's start with Mr. Arnett and work to your left.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of contributions over $500, I'd say the only individuals who have done that are my parents after I twisted their arm. But I do have contributions from many people in the community, over 40 different individuals and families that have contributed to my campaign in amounts less than that. One thing to note, though, is that I also have support from the background experience I have. So as I mentioned earlier, I started my career as a middle school teacher, teaching middle school math in a dual language school and a language immersion academy in the Kansas City, Missouri School District, serving primarily low-income, minority, Hispanic, and African-American students, and really focused on how do we close the achievement gaps that those students often face. And so from that experience, there's an organization called Leadership for Educational Equity that has contributed to my campaign. And really their agenda is just, they value people who've been through that experience of working with those communities and focused on closing those achievement gaps. And they contribute to me in terms of wanting to help support people who are focused on those goals.
And have any organizations endorsed you?
Oh, endorsements? I don't have any organizational endorsements. I've mainly focused on reaching out to the community and talking to individuals.
Mr. Badillo.
I've received one endorsement from Grow Elect, which is a community-minded organization that has the blessing from supporters like Condoleezza Rice supporting diversity. And I am seeking endorsement from a number of entities, but I haven't received them yet.
And any contributions of $500 or more to your campaign?
That was the Grow Elect.
Thank you.
I am funding my campaign mostly with personal loan right now, some other contributions, but nothing over getting close to $500. In terms of endorsements, the Morgan Hill Federation Teachers has endorsed me, and I have the endorsement of Donna Rebush, current board member, as well as Ron Wolf, current board member, Claudia Rossi, former board member and current county board member.
Thank you. Ms. Diaz.
The organizations that have endorsed me are the South Bay Labor Council, the Morgan Hill Teachers Federation, and the South County Democratic Party. And contributions, 500 or more, I received from Pam Tracy.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson.
Let's see, contributions 500 or more. Mom. That was one, 500. And the other one was from my best friend, whose name is Ed, and he's an attorney in San Francisco with a private practice. Endorsements. So State Senator Jim Bell and I have done lots of work together over the years on behalf of foster youth and kids in the juvenile justice system, and State Senator Jim Bell's endorsed me. Similarly, Morgan Hill Mayor Steve Tate and I, over the past, I'd say 12 years, have done a lot of work when I was executive director of Project Cornerstone throughout the whole county. Steve and I came together with the goal of promoting developmental assets for kids in Morgan Hill. That was when he was on the city council. And so ever since then, Steve and I have worked closely together to bring the developmental asset framework to Morgan Hill, and Morgan Hill Mayor Steve Tate has endorsed me. Aaron O'Brien, for affiliation purposes only, is the CEO of Community Solutions. And for those of you who don't know, Community Solutions is a fantastic mental health provider here in the South County, and they serve our schools as well as other entities. So she has also endorsed me, along with Chris Wilder, who runs our Valley Medical Center Foundation and is a really good person.
Thank you.
This question is for Ms. Diaz, Ms. Patterson, and Mr. Badil. It is no secret that there has been tension among members of the school board, leading to some contentious discussions and decision-making. How would you work to resolve that tension on the board and put students and families first? Starting with Ms. Diaz.
My intention is always to put students first and their families, our educators. And I think that I intend to move forward and work collaboratively with all of our board members. I have experience in attending leadership programs, and from the skills that I've obtained through my current work and other community service that have allowed me to identify how to work great in teams. And that's what I intend to do, is work collaboratively for the best interests of our students.
Thank you. Ms. Patterson?
I don't think anyone goes through this campaign thing without having the best interest of kids at heart. I really don't. And so when I look at board members and contention and disagreement and fracturing, I think, you know what? Everyone's speaking up and saying their piece because they believe deeply something about making this world a better place for kids. So my approach would be, let's all find what that something is, and let's work on that together. So that's kind of my bottom line. I'll also say that we've already started. I've met with all these individuals. I've talked to Albert, I've talked to Rick. We've had conversations about how we want to take this community forward. We share a lot of common experiences, and I would bring that to the board regardless of who sits there with me.
Thank you. Mr. Badil?
Could you repeat the question, please?
It is no secret that there has been tension among members of the school board, leading to some contentious discussions and decision-making. How will you work to resolve that tension and put students and families first?
Well, like we have all said, we're here for the kids. We just have a different way of going about it. I know we want to focus on the positives moving forward. As a current board member, we only are accountable to our constituents. The parents know what's best for their kids, and we as board members need to listen to the parents. I've got the parents they know that I listen. They can always come to me, and I'll forward them to the superintendent. How do we move forward from this contention? It's challenging, and as long as we focus on positives, I think we can move forward.
Thank you.
This next question is for Mr. Arnett. Charter schools were a major issue in the past elections and continue to be. Why do you believe parents who want to leave are unhappy with our public schools, and what can be done to address this issue?
That's a good question, because charter schools have been a contentious issue. And I want to start by saying charter schools are not part of my platform. I believe very much that our district schools have the capacity to meet the needs of our students. And that's what I want to work for on the board, is helping strengthen the district schools that we have so that people see them for the assets that they are. I think part of the challenge is that as I've gone out and talked to people, knocked on their doors, and met people that have sent their kids to charter schools or private schools, I think a big challenge is that people don't feel like the district is representing their needs or paying attention to their needs and their interests. So one thing I've been trying to do on the board is listen to parents. You know, I've had a number of people that have reached out to me, and rather than just taking their emails or taking their information, I try and set up meetings with them and talk to them personally and find out what is your interest, what is it that you want for your kids, so that I can make sure that the school district is representing the needs of the community.
Thank you.
Next question is for Mr. Beltran. What criteria would you use to decide if you would support a program being presented to the school district by an outside interest group?
The criteria that I would use in terms of bringing the program, well, first of all, if they're bringing some sort of research about how evidence that their program works. Okay, well, let's dig into the numbers, and what do those numbers mean, and what is that data that they're presenting, what does that really show? Also rely on staff to evaluate that data compared to programs that the district is currently offering or the district might be planning to offer. So I think sort of unpacking what's sort of their message and really breaking that down. I think my work as an auditor, again, prepares me for that, again, digging deep. But again, the data is only one reference point, talking to the people who are presenting them, looking at the background and understanding sort of the intent behind what this program is about. Because sometimes you do have very charismatic leaders who love a program and want it implemented and can talk in very influential ways. But when you really look at the program and you look at the finances and the management of it, you really have to judge, is this a good program compared to standards at the district, standards at the state level, and standards that we want as a community for our students and families.
Thank you.
This next question is for Mrs. Diaz. What will be your top 3 objectives if elected to the school board, and how do you plan to achieve these objectives?
My top 3 objectives are what I mentioned earlier that are my focus areas, and that's student achievement, parent engagement, and high quality education. With student achievement, I've learned a lot through talking with our district staff, and I'm really excited about everything that I've learned. We understand that the data is only one tool to measure the true growth of student achievement, and there's many other things to consider as it relates to the curriculum and other progress for student achievement. And there's certain impacts or factors that could contribute to student achievement. The single factor being parent education level, followed by socioeconomic status and English as a second language. And when we look at the data, the staff have done a really good job trying to compare apples to see what that truly is showing us. But the data hasn't been able to show certain student populations with multiple factors that their student achievement is affected by. With parent engagement, it's very much part of our LCAP. And it's how to engage parents more, how to educate parents more to be involved with their student education, to understand exactly about the programs that are in place, about how can they contribute, how to develop programs for them to learn about it. And then high quality education, it begins with our workforce, our teachers, is how to provide ongoing professional development.
Thank you.
Ms. Patterson, how would you balance your decisions as a member of the board with the input of parents and teachers regarding curriculum and instruction?
I'm hopeful that the people that are in place in our district office have expertise and they're there for a reason. I would like, until I see otherwise, I would trust that expertise and the information that's being brought to me from the district. And if a recommendation is coming forward or an idea is coming forward, I want to respect that expertise. At the same time, over the 11 years that I've been a parent in the district, there are a lot of experts in our community. There are experts among parents and there are experts among the students. And so one thing that I do is I listen to students and I listen to parents. And so I've had hundreds and hundreds of conversations. I was the Home and School Club president at Los Paseos for at least a year, school site council chairperson, where I also talked to multiple parents and district officials and school officials, and we made some things happen. So all those parent organizations that we have, student organizations that we have, student leaders that have opinions and ideas themselves, I think all of those things need to be taken into consideration along with the expertise that I presume our district office provides, and from what I've seen they do.
Thank you.
Mr. Badillo, what would you like to see the superintendent accomplish in the next year, and why do you think this is important?
Well, as a current board member, we don't have a personal influence. We work as a board, and the majority of the board rules. So my personal goals would have to align with 4 other members for the superintendent. Your question is, what would I like to see the superintendent work on?
Yeah.
I think now that we've got the SBAC scores and we've got data, we can get strategic and focus on how do we improve our school district as a whole.
Thank you.
Mr. Arnett, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the district, and how do you plan on addressing this challenge?
I think the biggest challenge is making sure that we are helping all of our students succeed. We have great schools that offer great programs. I mean, Sobrado was ranked in the top 4% of high schools in America. I graduated from Raleigh Voc and had, great access to great courses there, awesome programs like the band program. But I don't think all of those programs are reaching all of our students. And I think that's a big issue, is making sure that all students are prepared to achieve and succeed in life. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge that school districts across the country are wrestling with, because a lot of it is related to poverty and the backgrounds that students come to before they get to the district. But I think those are challenges that we can't just ignore, and I think they're challenges that we can address. They're not easy solutions to those challenges, but I think they are challenges that we can address if we work together and come to have a unified vision as a district and move forward with that vision. A big piece of that, I think, is making sure that we offer students personalized learning experiences. When I was a teacher, one of the things I struggled with was in any given class, I had, on one hand, a student who was bored because he was way ahead of the rest of the class and was looking for ways to entertain himself, and I had other students that were totally lost because they'd missed class, they'd missed school. And so as a teacher, you struggle to meet all those needs. What led me to the work I do right now is seeing ways in which innovative programs and technologies can help teachers to better address all those individual needs, rather than just having to kind of teach to the middle and try and catch students here and there. So I think that's a big part of the solution, is empowering our teachers with innovative programs that allow them to address the needs of all their students, so that we can make sure all students are succeeding.
Thank you.
Mr. Beltran, identify a recent board decision that you felt strongly about and why it was important to you.
Well, I have to be honest with you. Excuse me. I have to be honest with you. I mean, because my students are really young, I've not been paying attention in terms of, following on the day-to-day, week-to-week decisions of the school board members of the school district. I mean, I'm learning more as time goes on. One of the biggest issues that obviously I think of the past year is the grade reconfiguration, and so that's from what I've read and what I've seen and talked to parents now, is that there was some disagreement, there was some misunderstandings or miscommunication, or just, a different perspective on how our parents wanted their students to be educated and going through their school district. And so looking forward now, everything that I've heard and seen directly from the principals and the teachers and the families and students coming out of those back to school night classrooms, it's just a bunch of smiles. And so, that's one issue. Obviously the issue with the school site development is another one that I'm learning more about. In fact, I was just reading today about some of the discussions that have been happening in sort of the minutes. And so I'm learning more and just hope to continue to learn more and serve the students of Morgan Hill Unified.
Thank you.
Ms. Patterson, excuse me, would you support a parcel tax or bond measure to build more public schools in the district? Why or why not?
I supported a bond measure. So Measure G was passed in 2012, facilities bond, and we didn't have a lot of education up in San Jose, and so I took it upon myself, with the superintendent's help, to go door to door and put up signs and help get that bond measure passed. That was for technology and infrastructure upgrades. In concert with the growth plans for Morgan Hill, if the city council and the city leaders and the school district leaders are telling us that population growth is such that we should build more facilities for our students and that our district is growing, then I would most certainly want to find revenue to support those additional facilities. And if that came through a parcel tax or another way, after talking to constituents, after conversing with experts, absolutely, I would support that if that's what our district needed.
Thank you.
Mrs. Diaz, what ideas do you have to help the district attract more teachers for hard-to-fill positions such as math and science?
Well, what I know, it has been a challenge to attract teachers to our district. I've been at the board meetings where, the challenges and the issues by the teachers have been addressed. Ways that I think how to attract highly qualified and diverse is working together collaboratively with the board and the superintendent and administrative leadership to identify ways to incentivize and add some of the benefits to their current compensation. I understand those are some challenges, and there are limitations because what the funding that we have to work with is the baseline funding that we get from each pupil or each student, I should say. But there are other ways to incentivize that by offering, perhaps looking into how we can offer loan repayment programs, affordable housing, first-time home buyers. You heard today from our city council and mayor about home buyer programs and how to include that into the benefit package. Other contributions, depending on our funding and through one-time grants that I know that our district receives, is how to contribute perhaps to 401k or other benefits that will attract and retain our teachers.
Thank you.
Mr. Badillo, the cost of legal fees in Morgan Hill has doubled in the last 3 years. What is the reason for this increase, and how can they be controlled?
That's a very good question. The district typically is seen as deep pockets. We don't control who sues us, but as principal, sometimes we have to stand our ground. When we get proactive in suing people is where we have an opportunity to control the spending on attorney fees. I think it's important that if the majority of the board so approves, then we move forward with litigation. It's better to work collaboratively and find solutions so that we don't get sued. And having an open door policy with our district, our superintendent, to engage with parents for items that need to be addressed. We've been doing great things. I haven't changed my position in 4 years. We're doing great things in our district, yet we have challenges. And if we're able to identify the challenges and work collaboratively with the parents and the community, then perhaps we won't have to engage in litigation that's costly.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Beltran. Although we encourage students to attend college, some find their lives will be better served on other paths, such as joining the military or vocational training. What would you do to encourage development of more career and technical education programs in our schools?
Well, I mean, I understand that sort of dilemma firsthand of, okay, the pressures of going to college, but the need to, or desire to, or skill set to work now. I attended De Anza Community College, left school, and worked in an industry for a while, came back to school, and found what I wanted to do, found my path, as it were. And so I think as a school district, being open to partners, being open to programs and nonprofit partners, other government agency partners, allow them to come in, allow them to present their programs in conjunction with the school district is offering. And so, I mean, I think that we as a district have to be as supportive as we can and as open as we can to those other opportunities, because, that one student who, for whatever reason doesn't like college or doesn't see themselves in college right away, give them an opportunity in field X, give them a couple years life experience, and who knows, and they may go back, and they may go back with a passion like I did, and not just go back and get a college, a 2-year degree or 4-year degree, but go back and get a graduate degree and come back to the community and use that experience and education to serve their community.
Thank you.
Mr. Arnett, how do you believe student achievement should be measured other than state test scores, or are state test scores sufficient?
I think state test scores are important, but not sufficient. I think we often fall between these two extremes. One extreme is, I'll use an analogy. If you went to your doctor and the doctor said, all I care about is your blood pressure. I don't care about anything else, just your blood pressure. I just read your blood pressure and that tells me if you're healthy. Well, that'd be a concern, right? There's a lot more to a person's health than just their blood pressure. At the same time, it'd be a huge concern if you went to the doctor and the doctor said, oh, I don't need to take any measurements. I'm an expert, just do what I tell you to do. I don't even need to examine you, just do what I do and everything's gonna be fine. And I think there's a tendency that the discussion about evaluating schools gets polarized between those extremes of test scores are everything, or we shouldn't even look at test scores. I think test scores are important, but they're also a flawed measure like any measure. I think other things that need to be included too, and we don't have good measures for this yet, but this is where I think not just our district, but our state, our nation needs to develop innovative programs for studying how do you measure students' engagement? How do you measure their mindsets to know, are they focused on, do they believe that they can succeed? Do they believe that they have opportunities? How do we measure their social and emotional well-being, their non-cognitive skills? I think all of those things are important. So I'd be focused on figuring out how do we measure things, even if the state or the government, the federal government doesn't require of it. How do we get other measures beyond test scores that give us a good read on how our students are doing?
Thank you.
We have somebody who's handed in a question.
Oh.
This is a question for all 5 candidates. We'll start with Mr. Arnett and work towards your left. What is your plan to represent San Jose students and families?
Well, my number one plan is that I've been up there knocking on those doors, getting to know those people. I find that that's the number one thing, is making sure that you're in touch with that community, meeting people face to face. We recently got an invite, all of us, to go up and meet with the people that are part of the Los Paseos Homeowners Association, and I'm planning to attend that. The other thing is just being responsive to people in the community. When they reach out to me, I make a point of having a conversation with someone if I can make that happen. Making sure that I try to understand their needs and where they're coming from.
Thank you. Mr. Badillo?
So I had the opportunity to go out to the neighborhoods and talk to people, and somebody was asking through the door, who is it? And I said, it's Rick Badillo. And they're all, who? And I said, Rick Badillo. They were, what do you want? And I said, well, I'm your school board trustee. And they opened the door and we got to talk for about 15 minutes. Turns out they're educators as well. With regards to the San Jose area, I'm not sure how they ended up in the Morgan Hill district, but as a district as a whole, we're not just representing the Los Paseos and the areas that we represent. We're representing the whole district. We make decisions that that affect all the schools. So, so that we're clear, just because we're in a certain area doesn't mean we represent only those schools. Talking to the parents in San Jose, they have their unique needs, and as a trustee, I encourage parents to visit the district website, find our emails, and let us know what their concerns are so that we can bring them forward. We're here to listen to the parents. Without parent involvement, we really can't get a feel for the community. And San Jose, being the area that it's at, is still part of Morgan Hill, and we need to hear from those parents as well.
Thank you. Mr. Beltran?
Well, like I said, I live in Los Paseos area. I drive up and down those speed bumps every single day to and from work. So, I was there when the speed bumps went in, and, where I go for, weekend runs with, weekend nightly walks with my family, just getting to know the neighborhood, going to the park at Martin Murphy and Los Paseos, getting to talk to folks around there. That's where I'm from. That's where I live right now. So, I think it's going to be pretty easy as long as we're making that effort to be accessible, share our contact information. If folks recognize you, stop, say hi, engage them in that conversation, as appropriate. And again, not just the parents, but also other folks in the community who have an interest in seeing the children in that community, grow and succeed and thrive. And so I think I'm a unique candidate up here. Although I live in San Jose, I actually, like I said, have a long family history in Morgan Hill. My dad went to Live Oak when it was still at Britton High School, and a lot of my cousins have graduated Live Oak High School. So I have friends who live off Butterfield. So again, given sort of my personal and family history in both San Jose and Morgan Hill, I think it'll be fairly easy for me to feel a part of both communities.
Thank you. Ms. Diaz?
I'm currently knocking on doors, meeting families. I attended Martin Murphy Middle School, and I have also been invited by the school for Career Day, and that's how, I've been able to engage. If elected, I'll be accessible via email, Facebook, other social media, attending forums, back to school nights, other programs offered in that area. Many different ways to meet the community where they are. I think that the new trustee areas provide the opportunity for our board to reorganize and how we obtain the input. But I do agree that we're there for the entire district as a whole. I think it's how to be accessible and in what format to individuals that they can easily get to us.
Thank you. Ms. Patterson.
Thanks for the question. As a resident of San Jose, it's been a great interest of mine for many years to think about what's unique about that community and what can San Jose residents bring to our district. So two things. One is that it is more difficult, just with a slight distance, to get down to the district office. So we have an issue right now where parents are being required to be fingerprinted. And I've been hearing from a lot of San Jose parents that it's been difficult to get fingerprinted in order to volunteer on your kid's campus. So I was just talking to a friend of mine in the HR department at the district office about, for San Jose families, it's going to be very difficult to get down to the district office where the free fingerprinting is. So could we do something like have a mobile fingerprint come up to San Jose and be there one day out of the month for parents who are still eager to do that? So there are some issues that come up relative to geography. However, those are kind of problems that we can easily work out together, and I think it really has been a great bridge, San Jose to Morgan Hill, as the district is currently comprised, and there aren't a lot of differences between us. Barely any at all, I'd say. It's just the geography that we need to work on, and somewhat of a different culture easily bridged by just focusing on our kids and our students.
Thank you.
We have time for one more.
Sure.
All right. This is for all 5 candidates. If you could impact one thing as a board member, what would it be and why? And we'll start with Ms. Patterson.
Oh, boy, that's a tough one. One thing and why. As a board member, I believe that if all students aren't succeeding, then I'm not succeeding. If there are students in the schools over which I have jurisdiction who are struggling, failing, if there are parents who feel excluded, if there are parents who feel like they don't have a place at our schools, if there are kids that feel like they don't belong and they're not going to engage, then I'm going to hold myself accountable to that. I think that's probably the single most thing, is reaching every child, especially the ones that are struggling, don't feel engaged, don't feel welcome, and aren't participating.
Thank you. Ms. Diaz, and then we'll continue to your right.
An impact is that all students succeed, but that all students are able to identify that pathway to success, whether that is, I hope that all students go to college, and that is that pathway to success, but we know that some students fall off of that pathway. And I learned that through a county collaborative that I led the Santa Clara County Workforce Collaborative in partnership with many organizations. And it was a pathway for individuals who didn't make it to college. They had to work full time. And so we identified a course and targeted those individuals that are low wage earners, where they can get back on a pathway. They can get some kind of experience, certification that can go towards a full-time job, and that can count as 2-year experience. And I think that is very important to me, is that all students find that pathway to succeed and that go on to college.
Thank you. Mr. Beltran?
For me, it would be school climate. Part of our LCAP, I was reading, one of the data points said, in 2014, so a survey was taken, and 56% of 9th graders feel safe amongst their peers, which means that the other percentage does not feel safe, or may not feel as safe. And having 2 kids, essentially one of my 2 kids may not feel safe at school amongst their peers. So, I mean, I don't know what the details are behind that, and I would love to learn more about what went into the survey and sort of what the district thinks of that, and how we go about sort of, like I said, unpacking that data point. But just when you see that number, around 50% feel safe, don't feel safe, that doesn't sit well with me. It's just in my gut. There's a feeling that doesn't feel right to me, and so. A couple experiences why that's important to me. I spent a couple months after Hurricane Katrina working an education project, and in a community with nothing, every single adult gave everything to make sure their kids felt safe and felt loved at every moment of the day. And in a community where we have comparatively everything, why does only 56% of 9th graders at one time feel safe amongst their peers? So I want to learn more about that.
Thank you. Mr. Burdillo.
Thank you. I think if I had an opportunity to make one impact for our district, part of our LCAP plan is parent involvement. Not a select few parents, but all parents. Currently the culture, there's a lot of parents who feel not included, or when they do try to speak up, they feel like they're not being heard. I think if I could make one impact, I'd like to have all parents have a voice, because everybody wants their kids to succeed. Nobody says, oh, I hope my kid fails. So that being said, now is an opportunity for parents to vote on who they want to represent them. I've been the parent's choice for 4 years, advocating for parents, for their children. So as a board member, I ask for your consideration and vote for the next 4 years.
Mr. Arnett?
So I think my answer to this is similar to others, but I think the ideas I have for addressing is different. I think what we need to do, the one thing if I could impact it, would be making sure that all students leave school every day and graduate from high school feeling, being successful academically, feeling confident in their future and the opportunities they have for their lives. But how do we go about doing that? I think a big key is the relationships, making sure that students have relationships with adults, with teachers, counselors, administrators, other people in the community, volunteers, parents, that help them see and then get on and achieve that path to success with whatever their interest is, whatever they want to do with their lives. So how do we do that? I think it's really coming down to, we have constraints that we've just inherited with the way that education has been for a long time. But in my work, I see ways in which technology can help alleviate those constraints to allow for more of those relationships. A year ago, I visited a school in the Salt Lake City School District where they transformed the educational model and made it so that students had much more time to engage with teachers one-on-one, because the teachers weren't busy trying to cover the same lectures every year. They were more involved in working with students. And it was fascinating to see that they didn't have the cliques and the bullies that you see at other schools, not because students didn't have those same issues, but because the relationships between the teachers and the students was so strong that the teachers knew about those issues and could support students before they became real issues. And so I want to make sure that we have the type of innovative programs that allow us to offer those kind of relationships to our students.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Now we'll give everybody 1 minute to finalize what they have to say. And we'll start with Mr. Arnett.
So I want everyone here to think about back when you were in school. Think about a time when you were bored because you already understood most of what the teacher was saying and you were ready to move on, but the teacher had to cover it for the rest of the class. Or think about a time when you were lost, when you missed a day of school because you were sick and came back and couldn't figure out what was going on because you'd missed that day. What I want to do is bring to our district programs working with our district staff. I don't presume to do their jobs for them. I think it's really about supporting them and helping them, helping us to come together with a vision for how do we develop innovative programs that address the students' individual learning needs. And not only address their individual learning needs, but prepare them for life in the 21st century. Our education system can't be good enough to just be as good as it's always been. We've got to go beyond what we've done in the past. And I want to help bring that vision to our district. And so I hope you'll vote for me on November 8th. Thank you.
So I'm Rick Badillo, running for re-election. 4 years ago, the community voted for me to represent them. I'm asking for your vote again to support parents with who advocate for their kids. As a lifelong resident of Morgan Hill, except the time I was deployed in the military, it's important that we continue to listen to the parents who are the voters in our community. I'll continue to listen to the parents, advocate for them. Our kids need your vote for Rick Badillo. So I ask for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you to the AAUW, to the Morgan Hill Times, Morgan Hill Life, and our timekeepers for working with us up here. And thank you to everybody for attending and letting us share our message with you. Well, I'm running because, and I'm honored to have the teacher support, after parents, the people who know our students the best have entrusted and supported and endorsed me, because I think that more often than not, I'll be able to make good decisions in support of the classroom, in support of the student and teaching experience in the classroom. I have, for the better part of 10 years, dedicated my career to education, whether that's policy level, at the federal level, policy at the local level, or in the classroom, and on committee work. And the issues that I want to focus on: one, school climate; that I mentioned and talked about earlier before, and expanding the arts programs, and just protecting those classroom resources so that the teachers and students can do the jobs that they're meant to be doing.
I wanted to say thank you to AAUW, Morgan Hill Times, Morgan Hill Live, our city. I had positive experience in our school districts, attending PA Walsh, El Toro, Martin Murphy, and Live Oak, graduating in 2002. And I want that for all students. I had caring teachers. I had teachers who really guided me, who took me under their wing to succeed in school, and I remember that. I still see them around, and it's great to see that. I want that for all students, for those positive experience. I see the teachers, I see they care, and that's what I want to see is success for all students. I respectfully ask for your vote for Angelica Diaz for Area 5, and I thank you for being here today.
Once again, Mary Patterson is my name, and I think for me, classroom instruction is one of those things that can really turn things around. And as you just heard, one of my main priorities, and one of the things that keeps me up at night is the fact that we have kids that fail, and we have kids that leave, and we have families that are disappointed, and we have students that feel excluded. And so when I think about that, and I think about great teachers, a couple of things that I really want to focus on are teacher recruitment and retention, and the question to Ms. Diaz about how do we keep our science teachers here. We have a fabulous teacher, Travis Papa, who teaches science at Sobrato High School, and he came up to Mr. Batondo last week at an event and said, all my friends are at Google making 3 times what I make, and I don't know how I'm going to raise a family here. I love Morgan Hill and I love my school, but I don't think I can stay. And I know he's making a difference in the lives of kids, and he's making the difference in the lives of a lot of different kids. So I want to be able to keep Travis Papa in our district, and I hope that you'll offer me your vote so I can get to work and do that.
Thank you very much. Give them a big hand, please. That concludes our candidates forum. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We got a lot of great information. Thanks so much, Michael and Robert, for handling all those questions. And get out there and vote.